Good morning and welcome to the South Carolina Public Service Commission. It is Tuesday, June 24, 2025. It is approximately 10 a.m. We are here today on docket 2025-1E, the annual review of base rates for fuel costs of Duke Energy Progress, LLC. First, it appears that all commissioners are present in the hearing room. Ms. Wessinger Hill, would you please read the docket and explain today's proceeding?
Yes, sir, and thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning to everyone. As referenced by the chairman, this is the proceeding in docket number 2025-1E. The purpose of this proceeding, as noticed by the clerk of the commission, is the annual review of the base rates for fuel cost of Dominion Energy Progress, LLC. Mr. Chairman, it appears that all matters are in order and the commission may proceed.
Thank you very much. First, would the parties at this time please introduce themselves for the record, beginning with the company. There you go.
I'll try. Good morning, Chair Powers, Vice Chair Williams, members of the Commission. My name is Katie Brown. I'm in-house counsel for Duke Energy Progress. Here with me this morning is Lyle Trawick with the law firm of Robinson Gray.
Welcome.
Thank you.
On behalf of other parties, we have, I think, Nucor.
Yes, sir. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission and staff. I'm Rob, on behalf of Nucor Steel, South Carolina. I'm Rob Smith with Moore & Van Allen, and I'm joined virtually by Mike Lavanga of Stone, Matthias, Annapolis, and Brew.
All right. Thank you very much. And Office of Regulatory Staff.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, and Commissioners. My name is Chad Torrey, and I'm joined today by Stig Rasmussen, and we're with Office of Regulatory Staff.
And welcome to you as well. Before we begin, are there any matters we need to address?
Mr. Chair, if I may, the ORS and the company filed a stipulation this morning, and I'd like to address the commission briefly, if I may.
Go ahead.
Again, good morning, Mr. Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, and Commissioners. Late yesterday afternoon, ORS and the company notified Mr. Stark that they had agreed to a settlement in principle that would resolve all pending disputed issues in this fuel case. We also notified Mr. Stark that we were diligently working to reduce the terms of the settlement to writing in the form of a stipulation. The stipulation was filed this morning. We tried earnestly to get it filed earlier so the Commission could have some time with the document prior to the start of this hearing, but unfortunately that just was not possible. Mr. Trawick, Mr. Brown, Ms. Brown, and I are aware that the Commission may very well want to spend some time with the stipulation prior to taking witness testimony. We're also aware the Commission may instead want to proceed this morning with testimony from some or all of the witnesses. We are obviously amenable to do whatever it is that the Commission wishes us to do. I would like to, if I may, go ahead and introduce the stipulation into the record as Hearing Exhibit 1.
Well, there's nothing like the last minute, but
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
And there always seems to be some confusion as to stipulations and agreements. This is a stipulation. This is not an agreement by all parties.
This is a stipulation, Mr. Chair. There are three parties in this docket. There's ORS, there's Duke Energy Progress, the applicant, and there is Nucor Steel. It's my understanding that Nucor does not object to any of the terms of the stipulation, but is not currently a signatory to the stipulation. So in that sense, this is a stipulation.
Okay. Well, then we'll accept that into the record as exhibit number one. Exhibit number one will be the stipulation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, so
That's all I have.
thank you very much. As you probably expect, I have a few questions I normally like to go through when we have any sort of stipulation, and I guess those would be addressed just to Duke and to ORS. And it's my understanding Nucor did not sign on to the stipulation, but has no questions or no objections at this point in time. Is that correct?
That's correct, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. All right. Starting with the company, and then I would ask ORS to respond the same way. Do you feel that everyone's had ample opportunity to participate meaningfully in this case in reaching this stipulation, including engaging in proper discovery, pre-filing testimony, receiving and reviewing all relevant evidence, and complete disclosure of all relevant information?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes,
ORS.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Did your client participate in these negotiations in good faith?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Do you feel that all parties had ample opportunity, besides the commission, to review the terms of this stipulation?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes,
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
And this was reached voluntarily by the parties, is that correct?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
All right. Well, just wanted to know. All right, then what we've done, Ms. Wessinger Hill, I think, has conferred with the parties. We certainly will need time to look at it, but it's my understanding there's two panels whose testimony would not be a change in any way, and that we could possibly do those panels, and then we'll take maybe a little extra time at lunch to allow commissioners to really review this before we go forward. Is that acceptable? If any commissioner objects to doing it that way. All right. Duke, you may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, Commissioners. The company would first call Mr. Jim McClay and Mr. Jason Talbot as a panel. And again, Chair Powers, as you mentioned, these witnesses' testimony is not impacted at all by the issues that are discussed in the stipulation with the ORS.
Unless they say something different.
That's right.
Gentlemen, when you're ready. Gentlemen, when you're ready, if you would raise your right hands, please. Do you solemnly affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Mr. McClay, would you please state your name for the record?
Jim McClay,
By whom are you employed and in what capacity?
Managing Director of Natural Gas Trading for Progress Energy, Duke Energy Corporation,
How long have you worked in the energy industry?
for 27 years.
Can you tell me a little bit about your educational background?
Sure, I have a bachelor's degree in business administration, majoring in finance from St. Bonaventure University.
Will you please describe any roles that you have held that are relevant to this proceeding?
Sure. Since joining Progress Energy as an energy trader in 1998, I've worked in various power trading and natural gas procurement functions and leadership roles, including Director of Power Trading, Portfolio Management, and Manager of Gas and Oil Trading. Following the merger between Duke Energy and Progress Energy, I was named Manager of Gas and Oil Trading for Duke Energy
In May of 19, I was promoted to Director of Trading. August of 21, I assumed my current position as Managing Director of Natural Gas Trading.
Please describe your current responsibilities at the company.
Sure. As Managing Director of Natural Gas Trading, I participate in all aspects of the overall strategic direction and commercial management of the purchase, delivery, and storage of natural gas for Duke Energy. That includes monitoring, providing guidance in various areas of fuel markets, including feedback regarding supply and demand, price availability, economics, and deliverability of both existing and future supply sources. I also supervise the company's physical natural gas procurement and associated transportation activity, including negotiation and administration of long-term and short-term purchase contracts, as well as companies' associated financial hedging programs. In addition to natural gas, I supervise procurement of fuel oil, optimization, emissions allowances, and the power trading and hedging functions for Duke Energy Midwest Utilities.
Thank you, Mr. McClay. Chair Powers, based on Mr. McClay's extensive experience, I move to qualify this witness as an expert in the fields of gas and oil trading and fuel hedging.
No objection.
Thank you, Chair Powers. Mr. McClay, did you prepare or cause to be prepared 12 pages of direct testimony that were pre-filed with the Commission in this proceeding?
I did.
If I asked you the same questions that were asked in your pre-filed direct testimony, would your answers be the same?
Yes.
Chair Powers, I would ask that Mr. McClay's pre-filed direct testimony be entered into the record as if given orally from the stand.
The pre-filed direct testimony of Mr. McClay will be entered into the record as if given orally from the stand.
Thank you. Mr. McClay, did you also prepare or cause to be prepared 2 exhibits that were attached to your pre-filed direct testimony?
I did. I did.
Do you have any changes to those exhibits at this time?
No, I do not.
I would ask that Mr. McClay's 2 pre-filed exhibits be entered as the next composite hearing exhibit.
All right. The pre-filed exhibits of witness McClay, are there initials or is there a title to these exhibits and anything?
I believe that they are labeled McClay Direct Exhibit 1, Direct Exhibits 1 and 2.
The exhibits of McClay 1 and 2 are marked for identification and placed in the record as exhibit number 2.
Thank you. Mr. Talbot, would you please state your name for the record?
Jason Talbot.
By whom are you employed and in what capacity?
I'm employed by Duke Energy Business Services, LLC, as General Manager 3 of the Carolinas Dispatchable Generation North Zone, including the Roxboro Steam Station, Mayo Steam Station, HF Lee Energy Complex, and Wayne County CT Station.
How long have you worked in this industry?
Approximately 24 years.
What's your educational background?
I graduated from Downwell Community College with a technical degree in HVAC, and I also have a Bachelor's of Business Administration from Averett University.
Can you please describe any prior roles you've held that are relevant to your testimony in this proceeding?
Yes, I began my career with Duke Energy as an instrumentation and controls technician at Roxboro Station. Since then, I've had various roles of increasing responsibility in the Carolinas, generating current fleet, including maintenance superintendent at the Mayo Station. In 2017, I was named General Manager at Sudden Energy Complex, and in 2020, I was named General Manager of Coal Business Transformation. I assumed my current role in February of 2023.
Thank you. Can you please describe your current responsibilities at the company?
Yes, I'm responsible for the overall direction and management of over 5,000 megawatts of the Carolinas dispatchable generation, coal, combined cycle, and peaking generation. I provide strategic direction and leadership to station general managers, including day-to-day operations, business analysis, process development, O&M and capital budget allocation, and implementation and outage performance. I'm also responsible for the operational excellence and overall of all levels of the organization, including continuous improvement and competitive benchmarking.
Chair Powers, based on Mr. Talbot's extensive experience, I move to qualify him as an expert in the fields of traditional and renewable plant operations.
Is any objection from any party? He will be so qualified.
Thank you, Chair Powers. Mr. Talbot, did you prepare or cause to be prepared 10 pages of direct testimony that were pre-filed with the Commission in this proceeding?
Yes, I did.
If I asked you the same questions that were asked in your pre-filed direct testimony, would your answers be the same?
Yes.
I would ask that Mr. Talbot's pre-filed direct testimony be entered into the record as if given orally from the stand.
The pre-filed direct testimony, Mr. Talbot, will be entered into the record as if given orally from the stand.
Thank you, Chair Powers. Mr. McClay and Mr. Talbot are now available to answer any questions from the commission.
All right. Any questions from, Nucor is not going to ask questions, my understanding. Okay. Oh, yeah. ORS, any questions at this time?
No, Mr. Chair.
All right. We're going to proceed to commissioner questions. And also, since we haven't had a chance to review, even after you step down, we're going to ask that you remain, because once we review the stipulation, the commissioners may have more questions. I hate to tie you up all day, but that's why you're here. Any commissioner questions? Commissioner Williams.
Thank you, Chair Powers. Good morning, gentlemen. Mr. Talbot, I noticed on your submittal that your testimony, the reflection of battery storage, and I didn't see, because that's kind of an emerging impact. I wondered if you have any, if you can testify your experience of what that has meant relative to fuel cost and choices of dispatch thus far.
I can certainly try to do so. We have a corporate strategy, a strategy group installing batteries, which is a little outside of my realm, but I am familiar with some of our projects we have going on. The battery storage will provide an ability for us to capture solar during the day to help transition that renewable energy across the peak times. When solar starts to come off, battery will come on and still be economically viable for the customer solution.
And does that have any impact on cost overall for the company?
Yes, it would.
In a
positive direction,
okay.
a renewable direction, yes.
Okay. And ORS witness Bickley talks in his exhibit 2 about coal unit outages, and the Roxborough had experienced some maintenance outages, and I think it was taken off for a tube leak and an inspection. And why are those not considered unplanned or forced outages?
I can speak to that. So we've developed a strategy. So if you'll notice, the coal is just not dispatched like it used to be. So
right.
It comes offline, comes back online. When we're in those reserve periods of time where we're not running, we'll look for opportunities to fix issues that have crept up that we could continue to run with, but will make us more reliable for the next run. So we'll enter a maintenance outage, which is not a planned outage. It's part of our general maintenance outage scheduling, but it's actually a maintenance outage. So we'll go from offline into reserve, not required for economic dispatch. We'll enter maintenance outage, fix those items, put it back in reserve, be ready to run, and be reliable for the next run. That's why we implemented the maintenance outage strategy.
Thank you. That makes a lot of sense. Mr. McClay, just an easy softball question, I think. Are you reasonably certain that the company's fossil fuel purchasing practices were prudent and cost-effective to reliably supply fuel for the company and manage costs for ratepayers?
Yes, I am.
Could you amplify that just a little bit for me? Sure.
I know I've talked about it in the past. We have with our procurement practices and some of the strategies that we put in place for coal and for natural gas, everything from our dynamic dispatch to our the way we procure coal and gas using RFPs, staggering terms of purchases so they don't expire at the same time, managing through flexibility that's needed for the coal fleet and for the gas fleet. We need flexibility of products so that we can, we can shift as we get these dynamic, cold and hot events like we're having now. So we want to make sure that we're doing that. And our RFPs are very, they're very depth-wise. They have a lot of participation. So we're going to take the least cost, best reliable, supply that we can for both coal and gas. And we've done other things throughout the fleet to help us, such as storage, various products that enable us to avoid OFOs charges on pipelines. negotiated transportation agreements in the coal group that provide probably the least cost for delivery, as well as using off-site storage and on-site storage as well for coal to help and also manage the trains using a one face to the market approach. I think we've talked about that in the past, where we're buying for one fleet, so we're saving, being efficient, and saving demurrage time and things like that pop up. We can be flexible with our train fleets to go to different plants, so we don't have to send them back to the yard, and it's more about efficiency and saving money. So those are some of the examples I have. Hopefully that helps.
Thank you. I very much appreciate it.
Okay.
No further questions.
Thank you, Commissioner Williams. Any further commissioner questions? Anything else in reply from the redirect? All right, gentlemen, you may step down, but do not disappear.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The company would next call Ms. Kiva Hibbert and Ms. Wendy Fleener as a panel. Ms. Hibbert will testify about the DER methodology, and Ms. Fleener will testify about the company's customer programs under Act 236.
Ladies, if you would raise your right hands, please. Do you solemnly affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Hibbert, would you please state your name for the record?
Kiva Hibbert.
By whom are you employed and in what capacity?
I'm employed by Duke Energy Business Services, LLC, as a Rates and Regulatory Strategy Manager.
And did you prepare or cause to be prepared 7 pages of direct testimony that were pre-filed with the commission in this proceeding?
I did.
If I ask you the same questions that were in your pre-filed direct testimony today from the stand, would your answers be the same?
Yes.
Chair Powers, I'd ask that Ms. Hibbert's pre-filed direct testimony be entered into the record as if given orally from the stand.
The pre-filed direct testimony of Ms. Hibbert will be entered into the record as if given orally from the stand.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Hibbert, did you also prepare or cause to be prepared one exhibit that was submitted with your pre-filed direct testimony?
I did.
Do you have any changes to your exhibit at this time?
No, I do not.
Thank you. Chair Powers, I'd ask that Ms. Hibbert's pre-filed direct exhibit be entered into the record as the next hearing exhibit.
Okay, can you describe that exhibit, or is it?
Of course. Mr. Chairman, it's Hibbert Direct 1.
All right. The pre-filed exhibit of witness Hibbert identified as Direct 1 is marked for identification. We place in the record as exhibit number 3.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Fleener, would you please state your name for the record?
Wendy Fleener.
By whom are you employed and in what capacity?
I'm the Director of Clean Energy at Duke Energy Corporation.
And did you prepare or cause to be prepared 5 pages of direct testimony that were pre-filed with the commission in this proceeding?
Yes.
If I asked you the same questions that were asked in your pre-filed direct testimony today, would your answers be the same?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I'd ask that Ms. Fleener's pre-filed direct testimony be entered into the record as if given orally from the stand.
The pre-filed direct testimony of witness Fleener will be entered in the record as if given orally from the stand.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The witnesses are now available for questions from council and the commission.
All right. Questions from ORS at this time?
No questions.
Nucor, just to be sure. Okay. Any commissioner questions at this time? Commissioner Williams.
Good morning. I'm naturally curious, and so, reflecting over your testimony is a really good time for us to delve a little deeper and understand a little more, so thank you very much. My questions are for Ms. Fleener. You talk about the shared solar program and the standard offering customers are at 94% subscribed and low to moderate income are at 76% subscribed. Is that correct?
Yes, so overall, the program has 11% of the capacity available. So, as stated as part of my testimony, we currently have had some challenges being able to enroll new customers into the program. So, the company took time to really evaluate what our best path forward, whether that was a full IT kind of fix or a rebuild or what other choices there were. What we've decided to do that we think is most prudent kind of financially and from a timing perspective for the program is we're doing a manual enrollment process. So we're currently finalizing our testing of being able to do that. So versus kind of the typical online enrollment, we will do that kind of behind the scenes. So then what happens next is we have a little over 200 people that are on the waiting list. So between the waiting list and we also have some folks that have transferred to other locations in the jurisdiction. So what we're going to begin starting in July is to proactively reach out to those folks, remind them that they're eligible for the program. They've either been on our waiting list or have moved, so can still stay on and have benefit of the program. So we've committed to looking at going through that list as quickly as possible. And then after that, so there would be, with what we've got on the waiting list, potentially a little bit more capacity still available. So then we have a marketing plan on board after that that would then also use the manual enrollment process that we're going to deploy as soon as that's finished.
Are you able to replace the customers who have left the program?
So,
and I think you just said certain customers have stayed with, are still in the district, and you're going to look for them, the balancing area.
Yeah, correct. So we right now, as of today, have 471 kW available in the program. Between the waiting list and the folks that have transferred throughout, are still in our company's footprint, is 337. So that would be a delta. And so we are going to make, our best reasonable effort to look to fill capacity in the program. One of the challenges that we're looking into are, just to be transparent, there is an initial fee and then an upfront application charge as well. So in particular for the income qualified customers, while we do have some of those folks on the waiting list, as of today, that's a $60 kind of upfront fee. And so, that could have some financial implications for folks. Though, again, we're going to do our best reasonable effort to, explain kind of the benefits of the program, which over the course of a year on average is $100 in savings, but I am acknowledging that upfront fee for that group of customers.
So their delta would be $40.
Correct.
Okay. Do you have a sense as to why the low to moderate income subscription rate is lower, or do you believe it's the?
I do believe it's that. So the way that the program was designed and approved did waive that fee for the first 200 customers. But then after that, I think we just need to acknowledge that can be more challenging. Though, again, they could get that money, over the course of a year, but being able to have that first out of pocket could be prohibitive.
Do you anticipate that the overall program will become 100% subscribed? Is that what the marketing efforts are focused on?
That would be correct. That's our goal by the end of the year.
Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate both of you being here.
Of course.
Thank you, Commissioner Williams. Commissioner Caston.
Thank you. And guess this would be from Ms. Hibbert. In your direct testimony on page 5, where you had talked about the marginal line losses. And I think on lines 8 through 11, you talk about the 2024 fuel proceeding, how the company developed tools and resources. And you say the company has completed the process. I guess you wouldn't have said it otherwise, but I want to ask it anyway. Are you confident that the methodology accurately reflects, the amount of losses? For the value of net energy metering and such?
Yes, the company is confident. I'm confident that the results that were presented are accurately reflect the marginal losses. In my testimony in the previous proceeding, I mentioned that we had established the methodology, but we were validating the results. So there was a process of validation that was done to ensure that the results were not influenced by things like outliers or so on. And so we've completed that validation process, and so now we are confident to present the results that we've presented in testimony for this proceeding.
Okay, I asked that question more globally because, well, there's a part of me that really just, from an inquisitive point of view, would like to know how you validate such. But I'm afraid you actually might answer it, and then I'll have to try to understand all that. If you can do that, and you can do it at a level that I might understand, that might be nice.
So I will say that it's not in my area of expertise. I'm not intimately involved in the modeling and the validation process, but this is an input into the calculation for the components for the value of solar. So at a very high level, as I understand it, because we're leveraging new capabilities, we did not have sufficient historical data to ensure that the results were, as we would be comfortable or confident in. And so once that validation process takes place over a couple of runs from the model, and they look at the model output, they're able to determine that, okay, with more data, now we're confident with in the results coming from more data, because we have more data, and we know that the results are more stable, more close to the mean. And so outliers will have a lower influence on the results. And so that's my understanding of the validation process.
Well, thank you. That actually was very helpful. That was on a level that I can grasp. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Commissioner Caston. Any further commissioner questions at this time? All right, ladies, you may step down, but again, we may want to call you back once we've had a chance to delve a little deeper into this stipulation. Thank you. I think those were the witnesses that you had. I think what we would like to do is recess until 1 o'clock. I know that's a little bit long time, but I want to make sure everybody has enough time to review this matter. And at 1 o'clock, we can all be ready to roll with the rest of the testimony, if that's suitable. All right, then we will be in recess until 1 o'clock. Thank you very much.